Hey guys, it's me, Andy, from the satirical site on the Atheist non-religious channel, Laughing in Disbelief. Today we're continuing our journey through the book of Genesis and reading chapters 3 and 4. There's a lot going on. There's burning bushes and the mystery of who is Moses' father-in-law. Oh, you thought you knew, but did you really? Let's get to it. I guess maybe I should mention the magic tricks too. I don't want to give anything away, but that's a teaser. There's magic tricks involved here. Moses and the burning bush. Now Moses was tending the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law. Wait a minute. Didn't the Bible just say Moses' father-in-law was Reuel? Let's take a look. I'm opening my imaginary book. Yes, Exodus 2 specifically says the man who gave Moses his daughter was named Reuel. That doesn't seem very inerrant to me, Bible. The priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the far side of the wilderness and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. Moses saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. So Moses thought, I will go over and see what this strange sight, why the bush doesn't burn up. When the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called to him from within the bush, Moses, Moses. Now, did you notice that it was an angel a second ago in the burning bush, and now suddenly it's God? Let's continue. And Moses said, Here I am. That's my Moses voice, I guess, for today. Do not come any, maybe that's my Moses and God voice. Do not come any closer, God said. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. Then he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. At this, Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. The Lord said, it's funny, Abraham was having lunch with God, and now Moses has to hide his face. The Lord said, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I've heard them crying out because of their slave drivers, and I'm concerned about their suffering. It's funny that God didn't care about the Pharaoh enslaving the Egyptian people back in Genesis, but suddenly he cares now about, I guess, the Jewish people. So I have come down to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptians and to bring them out of that land into a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey, the home of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, Hivites, and the Jebusites. And this makes you wonder, why couldn't God have given his chosen people some real estate that wasn't so crowded? And now the cry of the Israelites has reached me, and I have seen the way the Egyptians are oppressing them. Now go. Now go. I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. But Moses said to God, Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? There's a little argument going on here. There's going to be an argument. There's something. And God said, I will be with you, and this will be a sign to you that I, who have sent you, when you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God on this mountain. Remember, this is the mountain Horeb. That's what the Bible says. It's not Sinai, it's Horeb. Moses said to God, Suppose I go to the Israelites and say to them, The God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they ask me, What is his name? Then what shall I tell them? Another good question. God said to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you. God also said to Moses, Say to the Israelites, The Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. Maybe without the fingers. Maybe without the fingers. Maybe without the fingers. This is my name forever, the name you shall call me from generation to generation. Go assemble the elders of Israel, and say to them, The Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, appeared to me and said, I have watched over you and have seen what has been done to you in Egypt, and I have promised to bring you up out of your misery in Egypt into the land of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, there's two Z's there, two Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, a land flowing with milk and honey. The elders of Israel will listen to you. Then you and the elders are to go to the king of Egypt and say to him, the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, have met with us. Let us take a 3-day journey into the wilderness to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God. But I know that the king of Egypt will not let you go unless a mighty hand compels him. So I will stretch out my hand and strike the Egyptians with all the wonders that I will perform among them. After that, he will let you go. And I will make the Egyptians favorably disposed toward this people, so that when you leave them, you will not go empty-handed. Every woman is to ask her neighbor and any woman living in her house for articles of silver and gold, and for clothing, which you will put on your sons and daughters. And you will so plunder the Egyptians. Wow. God's going to make them... Wow, that's... I just want to question for a minute the morality of the Jews plundering the Egyptians. Remember, in Genesis, Joseph, with the help of God's famine, helped to enslave the Egyptian population to their despotic ruler, the Pharaoh. Now God, he wants Jewish slaves to plunder Egyptian slaves. Nice, God. Very nice job. Signs for Moses. We're starting chapter 4. God shows Moses how to do some magic tricks. Let's go. Moses answered, what if they do not believe me or listen to me and say, the Lord did not appear to you? Then the Lord said to him, what is that in your hand? You would think God would be able to see, but maybe he can't see with all the flames in the burning bush. I don't know. A staff, Moses replied. The Lord said, throw it on the ground. Oh, this is the chapter with all the magic tricks. And this is some weird stuff in this chapter. Throw it on the ground. Moses threw it on the ground, and it became a snake, and he ran from it. Then the Lord said to him, reach out your hand and take it by the tail. So Moses reached out and took hold of the snake, and it turned back into a staff in his hand. This is my fairy tale, voice. This, said the Lord, is so that they may believe that the Lord, the God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob has appeared to you. Then the Lord said, put your hand inside your cloak. I don't have a cloak, I have a hoodie. So Moses put his hand into his cloak, and he took it out. The skin was leprous, like a leper. It had become as white as snow. So that's like just a basic trick, right? That's just a basic magic trick. Now put it back into your cloak, he said. So Moses put his hand back into his cloak, and when he took it out, it was restored like the rest of his flesh. Then the Lord said, if they do not believe you or pay attention to the first sign, they may believe the second. But if they do not believe you with these two signs, or listen to you, take some water. I guess this is the international sign for water. Water out of the Nile and pour it on the dry ground. The water you take from the river will become blood on the ground. Blood. Moses said to the Lord, pardon your servant, Lord. I have never been eloquent, neither in the past nor since you have spoken to your servant. I am slow of speech and tongue. The Lord said to him, who gave human beings their mouths? Who makes them deaf or mute? Who gives them sight or makes them blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Oh, wait. God made my grandmother blind? She was diabetic and blind. Does that mean God makes babies blind too? Like people born without sight? He makes everyone blind? Who are blind? I don't know. Now go. I will help you speak, and I will teach you what to say. I'm having some real issues about that blindness and mute thing. But Moses said, pardon your servant, Lord. Please send someone else. Then the Lord's anger burned against Moses, and he said, What about your brother, Aaron the Levite? I know he can speak well. He is already on his way to meet you, and he will be glad to see you. You shall speak to him and put words in his mouth. I will help both of you speak and will teach you what to do. He will speak to the people for you, and it will be as if he were your mouth, and as if you were God to him. But take the staff in your hand so you can perform the signs, the tricks, with it. Moses returns to Egypt. That's what this next section is called. You thought the magic tricks were crazy? This is crazy. Then Moses went back to Jethro, his father-in-law, and said to him, "Let me return to my own people in Egypt to see if any of them are still alive." Jethro said, "Go, and I wish you well." Now the Lord had said to Moses in Midian, "Go back to Egypt, for all those who wanted to kill you are dead." Very convenient. So Moses took his wife and sons and put them on a donkey and started back to Egypt. And he took the staff of God in his hand. The Lord said to Moses, "When you return to Egypt, see that you perform before the Pharaoh all the wonders I have given you the power to do, but I will harden his heart so that he will not let the people go. Then say to Pharaoh, 'This is what my Lord says. Israel is my firstborn son, and I told you, let my son go, so he may worship me. But you refuse to let him go, so I will kill your firstborn son.'" Tough talk. At the lodging place on the way, here's the craziest part. At the lodging place on the way, the Lord met Moses and was about to kill him. But Zipporah took a knife, cut off her son's foreskin, and touched Moses' feet with it. "Surely you are the bridegroom of blood to me," she said. So the Lord let him alone. At that time, she said, "bridegroom of blood," referring to circumcision. Okay, we're going to have to stop here and talk for a minute to discuss this crazy bit. You heard that right. God stops Moses and company, his family, and decides to kill Moses. I was listening to Bible scholar Robert M. Price on the Human Bible Podcast. It's an old podcast, but it was a great podcast. It was episode 2, the link is below, state that there was a time when the people gave up their firstborn sons as a sacrifice for Yahweh. They would sacrifice the boy on the 8th day after they were born. At a certain point in time, people thought, this is a crappy practice. Instead of sacrificing the whole child, what about sacrificing every male child's foreskin? That's better, right? Shouldn't that make God happy? The verse we just read is presumably from the time when the people were transitioning from killing kids, killing boys, so this is bad, to circumcising them. I'm not going to do that again. Let's get back to the Bible. The Lord said to Aaron, "Go into the wilderness to meet Moses." So he met Moses at the mountain of God and kissed him. Then Moses told Aaron everything the Lord had sent him to say, and also about all the signs he had commanded him to perform, all the tricks. Moses and Aaron brought together all the elders of the Israelites, and Aaron told them everything the Lord had said to Moses. He also performed the signs before the people, and they believed. And when they heard what the Lord was concerned about them and had seen their misery, they bowed down and worshipped. All right, thanks for watching. Upvote and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye. Hand of God.